1, 2, 3, test. Oh. Hello? I think we have a problem with the microphone. When Windows updates is always a problem. Always a problem. Volume despite a plus 30 dB. What the? It's actually possible. I don't know why sometimes the microphone just fucks up. I don't know. Hey. Hello? Oh, now. Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Well, now it's better, I guess. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, now it's better. Maybe even too much? No, I think it's good. Yeah, Windows, for whatever reason... So let me go live. Hello. For whatever reason, Windows decided that this one was at 43. I don't know why. It was like this, right? I don't know why. He decided to change this volume automatically. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me try. This is volume. Wait, this is what? This is 18 dB. This is 25 dB. This is 30 dB. 18 dB, 25 dB, 30 dB. Okay. 30 dB. Okay. Ah, fuck, I arrived late. I arrived late. Let me try again. There is 18, there is 25, and there is 30. 18, there is 25, and there is 30. I think 30 is the best. 18, there is 25, and there is 30. I think we should use 30. Should amplify it as much as we can. Let's go, boys. We have the microphone back. Nice. Nice. Okay. So, what I want to do today. So, as you have seen in our mini game, in our fishing mini game, there is a change of camera, right? The camera is changing, and when the scene changes, basically we are getting the controls of another actor. But we maintain the same player controller, right? So the question is, what? So the question is, if we maintain, right? So we have our player controller, right? We have our character, and we have another character that we possess, right? So this is the controller, right? This is our normal character, right? So this is our PS character, and this is our fishing actor, right? Exactly. So the point is, if my PS character already has a very big number of input actions, right? So if my PS character already has a big number of input action, for example, I mean all the shortcuts, right? So we have all the shortcuts coming from the shortcut bar, right? We have I mean even the WASD, right? Even the WASD movement, right? We have the mouse input, right? We have the mouse input, etc., right? So we have all this stuff, right? And this stuff is done in the old way. So it's done with the standard Unreal Engine 4, let's call it, because this was kind of a, you know, for version 4, right? It was at that time. So, and the problem is that we are switching between these two. So we have the controller going to the character, but then at a certain point in time, we want to switch it, right? We want to switch it to... Fuck. I know, they are just small lines. They want to switch it to our fishing actor, right? And our fishing actor has different controls, right? Has different controls because he has, for example, I don't know, the C to cast, right? Or he has the W, the WASD to move the fish, right? To, let's say, counter the fish, right? Right. So maybe here the C is doing something else. I don't remember, but potentially C is doing something here as well, right? So how do we easily switch between these two, right? And Unreal Engine created a new thing that is actually called enhanced input. And I think this is something that we really need to investigate, right, and understand. It is new. It is coming from for Unreal Engine 5, right? But we didn't adapt our game to this yet, right? So my idea for today is to understand this new system and potentially put it into our game, right? I don't know how hard it will be to convert, right? But if there is a better way, I mean, assuming there is a better way, and consider now this was released in 5.0, right? So we have 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, 5.4. So we have 4 releases. I really hope that now this is solid enough, right? And so that we can use it. So the idea would be to study this and see how we can integrate it. Actually, I integrated already with the fishing minigame. And I think I want to do... oh, by the way, look at this beautiful... Look at this beautiful fish. Fantastic, eh? I know. So the point is... If we could... by the way, are there any new free games here? And sometime I don't check, actually. When is the last time I checked? I don't know. Let's check now. There is one free game. Beholder. These are a game that I just collect and then I never play. No, but some I play actually. Mainly the big ones. Like for example, Guardian of the Galaxy by Marvel, right? That one that was given for free. I played it, and it was given for free on Epic, and it was like a $60 game at that time. Okay, so yeah, my idea was to actually go back to our test project, which I think is the easiest thing. So go back to this. I think go back to this and simulate. What I want to do, I want to simulate the same situation that we have in our game. So that we have certain inputs, right, done the old way, and other inputs done the new way. And I want to have my third person character and my fishing actor to actually have some keys that are in overlap, right? And what I really don't understand, because if this is done on the player controller, right, that is kind of useless. That is a bit what I'm thinking at the moment, right? Because the player controller stays the same, but the actor that you possess changes, right? And we want the actions to be based on the character that you possess, not on the player controller. So I really hope that this new system is not working on the player controller, because that would be completely useless, right? I mean, you can start from the player controller, but then I need to decide, I need to define my actions on the character. So imagine that you are morphing into an animal, right? That animal will have different actions, and we want to use the keys to, yeah, right? So that's exactly the point. So the old system now in the project setting, let me see if we have anything here inside input, right? Inside input, at the moment I don't have anything, right? I don't have anything here. But in our old system, we do have it. So for example, in our old system, we say, I don't know, if you press, let's do F, because it's the same that we already use for, right? If we do this, we can say, let's call it main character action, right? And this main character action is done the old way, right? And so when I press F in my third person character, I do this, right? Right? So it is currently assigned to F, right? And so basically now, if I press F, right, we do this, which is good, right? So, and it is done the old way. Now, if I have F defined here and I have F defined there, right? Then what the hell happens? This is what I don't understand, right? So if I have an action mapping, because in theory here I have F again, you see? And I can have, obviously I have, right, I can add this action here as well, because it is a global action, right? It is defined on in the project settings, right? And that is what is messing up with me. So, okay, let's try to read and learn the system. Hopefully we'll answer my question. If it doesn't, we will see. Okay, let's read this system and answer the input. I think we read it quickly the other day when we did the fish. Actually, we created something, right? Because here, I think I created it under fishing. Yes, I created this IMC that stands for input something, input mapping context. Okay, input mapping context. So we created this, which is listing the actions available, right? But what I don't really understand is, so, and this is listing, for example, zoom and look. Exactly, zoom and look. But then, but I don't understand this too much. But anyway, let's read the guide, because this one seems to be input axis, right? Probably is the player mappable input config deprecated. This represents a set of player mappable control key mapping. You can use this input to configure the create of the default mapping for your player to start with your game. Provide an easy way to only get a player mapping key. It can be used, but it is actually deprecated, right? So we should not use this anymore. So I think everything should go through input action. But what I don't understand is, for example, there was an input action jump, right? Yeah, exactly. So this input action jump, what key? I mean, where do you see the key? This is what I don't understand. Okay, let's follow the guide, but I don't know. Okay, for Unreal Engine 5, more advanced input feature, complex input handling, runtime control remap. Yeah, runtime control remapping. This is exactly what we need, right? So when we are on one character, we want certain input. When we are on another character, we want other input, right? Enhance the input by developer with an upgrade pattern backward compatibility with the default input systems. Implement features like layout dead zone, code redaction, contextual input prioritizations with the ability to extend your own filtering. I don't understand any of this, but fine. When you enhance input, you can add or remove mapping context at runtime for the player. Okay. Yes, and it is pretty much what we need to do, right? So we need to add and remove mappings, yeah, for the player, exactly. This makes it easier to manage a large number of actions. You can change how certain input behave depending on the current state of the player. For example, if you have a player card that can walk, sprint, and be prone, for each of those character movement type, you can swap the mapping context to have the control key to different actions. What? While walking and you press the control key, you should crouch. While sprinting and you press the control key, then you should slide. Okay, I understand. Well, this is not really our case though, but fine. I mean, no, I understand this case. I understand this case, which is the same key used in different situations. But this is still on the same character, while I need to swap. But anyway. Creating an answered input asset. An answered input is enabled by default. You can create input asset from the context browser, but you can create a context browser by clicking add navigation input category. Okay. The answered input system has 4 main concepts. Okay, input actions, which is actually the basic action like walk, run, jump, whatever. The input mapping context, which is already a bit confusing to me, but anyway, this is a collection, I think, right? This is a collection of actions. Modified, I don't know. Triggers, I don't know. So input action are a communication link between the input system and your project code. The input action are the conceptual equivalent to action and axis mapping names, except they are data asset. Each input action should represent something the user can do, like crouch, fire a weapon. You can add an input listener in either the blueprint or C++ when the action state changes. When the input action state changes. So yeah, basically when you use that thingy. Yeah, the input listener is this, right? Is our is this input action? I think is this guy, right? I assume, but so for example, if I do look, right? How do I? Yeah, you see an answered input event, AI look. So this is the exactly. Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff actually. Okay. So you see that it's completely different than this one, right? So this one is the enhanced input action, and this one is the old input action, which only has basically a press, the release, and a key. But I mean, like, if triggered, I should go here, right? And I don't know the difference between trigger, started. So trigger occur after one or more processing takes. An event does occur that has begun trigger evaluation. Okay, let's continue with the explanation. When the input state change, input action can be several different types that will determine their behavior. You can make a simple Boolean action or more complex 3D access. The type of action determines the value. Boolean action can have a simple bool value. An axis 1D is a float value, axis 2D is an F vector, and axis 3D is a wall F vector. Okay, so basically what we are saying is that my look, right? Yeah, can be a Boolean, a float, a vector, on a vector 2D or a 3D vector. Okay, so I assume that the Boolean is just like a crouch. So should a crouch be a Boolean or what? This is what I don't understand too much. How does that map to like jump, right? Is jump a Boolean? Yeah, it's a Boolean. Okay, I understand. But it doesn't tell me the key. This is what I'm confused about, right? It doesn't tell me the key. So how does he associate then the key to the jump? Because our character can actually jump or not. Can he jump? Yeah, he can jump, right? So he's using the jump somehow, but I don't understand where this is connected to. Because if I go to my project settings, right? Under input, there is not a jump thingy. So how do we map that? This is what I'm missing, right? It's somewhere for sure, but I'm missing it. Okay, but let's go on. Okay, so you can have it Boolean, you can have it float, you can have it vector 2D, you can have it vector 3D. Okay. You should use a Boolean action for input that have an on-off state. This is the equivalent of the older action mapping in the legacy input system. For control like gamepad thumbstick value, you can use 2D axis. And you can use 3D axis to hold more complex data such as motion controller information. Okay. As an example, a pickup item action may only need on-off state, yes. While a walk action may require a 2D axis. To describe the direction and the speed. Okay. That is kind of clear. Trigger states. A trigger states represent the current state of an action, such as started, ongoing, trigger, completed. Yeah, they are the ones that we have seen before, right? In here, right? So we have seen, these are all the, so he called it trigger states. Okay. This means that he has completed the evaluation of all trigger requirements. For example, a press and release trigger is sent to the user when there is a key. Started. An event occurred at the beginning evaluation. For example, the first press double tap. So basically this is called once. This may be called multiple times. Ongoing. The trigger is still being processed. For example, a press and hold action is ongoing while the user is holding down the button key before the specified duration is reached. Depending on the trigger, this event will fire every tick while the action is evaluated once. Yeah, this is exactly what we are doing with some of our actions. Like you have to hold the key to actually charge a spell or cast the line or do things like that, right? And that is a hold. Yeah. Completed. The trigger evaluation process is completed. Okay, cancel. The trigger was cancelled. For example, a user let go of a button before a press and hold action can be triggered. I don't understand the cancel too much. But okay, cancel confused me a bit because he's saying, for example, a user let go a button before press and hold action can be triggered. I don't understand what that means. So probably you manage it programmatically. You say, oh, you have to press and hold, you need at least to hold 1 second, and he releases it before the second goes through. But I don't understand how that is configured, right? But anyway. To add an input action listening in Blueprint, you can right click in the Blueprint event graph and type in the name of the input action data asset. Oh, really? What do you mean? Huh? You mean here? So if I don't have this, no, I don't understand. All action for this blueprint. Yeah, but they have to be implemented. Why is saying to add? To add an input action listener in your blueprint, you can right click in the blueprint event graph and type the name. Yeah, no, not on the left. Yeah, you like usual, right? So you do input action, right? Input action underscore, and you have them all here. Okay, fine. No, that's fine. No, because the picture was showing this thing on the left, and I was confused. Like you could add it from here, but no, you add it normally from the right click. Okay, fine. Adding an input action event and set it to execute a print string. Okay. You can also bind input action in C++. Yeah, because now our problem is that in ALS we also have some actions that are actually mapped through code, right? Unfortunately. And so I will have to manage that. So to understand how that integrates with this new system. Set up a player input component. Enhance input component, custom input component, bind action. Okay. Bind action. Aiming input action. Trigger this. Sound callback function. Okay. So you can probably bind based on this, right? I assume. I mean, still, it didn't tell us how to map it to a key, right? I still don't get that, but fine. Input mapping context. An input mapping context is a collection of input action that represents certain. Okay. They describe the rules for what triggers a given input action. Mapping context can be dynamically added, removed, and prioritized for each user. To create a mapping input context, okay. And we already have one of them, right? We have one input context here that I called fishing actor, which includes look and zoom, right? It includes look and zoom. The bottom level contains a list of input trigger and input modifier for each user input. But you see that he has a key, bro. Where is this key? I don't get that. Where is this key? Probably it happens only in the wait. I think I understand now. Like spacebar. I don't have it in mine because mine are axis, right? They are not Boolean. They are not Boolean. So based, okay. Yeah, but move is a Boolean. No, move is an axis 2D. Yeah, but how does he know? How does he? I don't know. I don't understand. Modifier Zwizzle input axis values. YX. A negate. Negate. Where the fuck is negate? Because he has to go the opposite direction of D. It is a bit confusing, I have to say. I mean, I don't really understand much about this. Like S, right, which is going back as a Zwizzle input and negate. Okay. A only has negate. So how can I go to the left? I mean, if it doesn't have a Zwizzle, how can I go left if it's not adding, right? How can that even work? How can that even work if here I don't have any? No, I don't understand. I don't understand why S is done one way and A is done in a different way. Why this one has 2 elements and this one has 1 element only? Why this one doesn't have Zwitzel input access value? Why? Why it does not have it? And what is this Zwitzel, by the way? Zwitzel access component of an input value, useful to map a 1D input into the y-axis of a 2D action. GG, bro. And D doesn't have anything. I mean, D is not mapped to shit. So how can D work if we don't say what it needs to do? I think because probably in AI move, right? So probably there is this AI move that is taking all these input. Okay, let me go 1 second. Let me go 1 second here and do this. And do this, right? AI. Action value. Left and right. Yeah, but how does he know? How does he know, right? How does he know that D is like D that has nothing? How does he know that D is right? Maybe because by default an input access is anyway giving a positive value. Yeah, that's possible. And so you only have to negate to say that is the opposite. Okay, might be. Yeah. Maybe the default of this is positive X. That's very annoying, huh? I don't know why they didn't put it more explicit, but it's possible, yes. So by default, an axis value is giving positive X, and so D, you don't put anything because it's just giving positive X. And then for A, you just say negate. So it's basically a minus X, right? It's basically a minus X. And to have the Y, you have to revert it. So basically W and S, you have to Zwitzel because it's basically putting into the other direction, and here also you put in the other direction, but here you go Y and you just negate the standard. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think I understand it now, but it's kind of convoluted, really. It's kind of convoluted. I think they made it this way to make it generic, and I understand that. So you can also have weird other, mappings, but okay. I think I understand it slightly, but I mean, I understand the move at least. So, but yes, in your context, you put a value. So if I want F, right? If in my case, I want F to be the fishing. So if I want F to be, now my problem is, my problem is if in one context, okay, which is this one, F does something, I want in this context F to do something else, right? So that's basically the whole point. But isn't the same as the old system where you define the enhanced input and you define F and F? Isn't that exactly the same? So I guess my question is, if I have to create a new input, a new action, right? A new action that is fishing. Will I have only one action called start stop fishing? Or I have two actions, one that is start fishing and one that is stop fishing? Because the start fishing happens in third person character and the stop fishing happens in fishing actor because it's after the possess, right? So I think in this case, since it happens in two different characters, I can define it separately, right? Okay, I can define it's the same. It's very confusing to me. Hello, Hula. Hi. Good afternoon to you. I'm trying to understand if I have because let's say that my third person character, right, defines a key for opening a window. So let's say that I have let's say that I have a widget, right? I have a simple user widget, which is sample UI, right? And this sample UI is made of, I don't know, just a text that is saying 1, 2, 3, 4. And say it's says I don't know, value 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe he has a button, whatever, right? Okay. He has a button. I don't know. The button is saying, the button is saying press me, saying okay. And I mean, apart from the sides, at the moment I don't really care, but okay, so we have this simple UI, right? And the simple UI, I mean, the OK button will do nothing else than just remove from parent, right? And okay, so I have the simple UI. So my main character as an action, I don't know if it should be really an action though, but as an action that is called open UI, right? Open UI. I mean, we can keep the same format. IA open UI, something like that. And I say that this is what it, yeah, this is a boolean, right? It is a boolean, and the trigger is pressed or released. Okay, the trigger is pressed. What was it in the jump? In the jump was pressed and released. Why he has both here? That's kind of weird. Well, I want to know when it's pressed and released. No, in this case I just want to know when it's pressed. Okay, so I create my open UI, right? And so now I can say, oh, I can say here, you know, when that happens, right, just create a new widget and put it on screen, right? Now we don't care about the position, so the position will be probably a bit fucked, but it's okay. Let me just do, I don't know, 400, 400, whatever. Okay. So now basically when I press, now it's not mapped, so at the moment it's not doing anything. So if I go to IMC default and I add, that's a good point, right? So if because at the moment it doesn't open unless I map it, right? I need to map it. If I don't map it, it will never work. So, right. And now I say that this is mapped with a C key, right? Can I? Yeah. It's mapped with a C key. I don't understand this trigger too much, but anyway. Why I have to say it again? Why I have to say again if it's pressed or whatever? Why I have the triggers here again? I don't get it. But anyway. So now if I press C, yeah, the UI will appear, right? And in theory, if I could have my mouse, I could also close it. Get controller, set mouse UI. What is it? Set UI. Huh? Mouse UI. No. What? Get player controller, set mouse, set UI, set input UI. Okay, apart from this, it just allows me to click on the button. Right, so this will basically just allow me, yes, now to click on OK, so the window goes away, and I will have to basically do the opposite of this, right? When we click on the button, but that's fine, right? I mean, this is just to set up a kind of an example that I understand how it works, right? So basically now when I press C, I have my mouse, I can go here and press OK, and then I'm back to my normal mode, right? So now my character has a new enhanced input that is called OpenUI, right? Which is set in this thing. And for example, this guy does not have it. This guy does not have it. So when I switch between, but I don't know if I'm switching. Am I switching or? Am I switching? We didn't learn yet how to switch between the two, but that's the whole point, right? So you see this setup axis mapping, right? Is adding the, so yeah, exactly. So if now I go F and now I go C, you see, because here C is something else. C is casting of the line, right? Is not anymore opening, open the UI. So the fact that we have assigned, yes, they have assigned this here, and we are switching from default to fishing actor, right? So if I don't do that, so if I don't switch if I remove this, pretty much, if I remove this, right, I will then be able to press C and open my UI. Nope. That is very annoying. Because the action in the blueprint override the UI, the enhance input, or what? Yeah, because I have a C here, right? I have it done the old way here. Yeah, I have it done here. So it seems that this anyway takes precedence. So if you don't have it defined, but you have defined an action here, it still works. It still works. But yes, because this is defined the old way. In theory, I will have to define a new action that is called cast the line and associate it only to the phishing actor and not to the IMC default, right? Exactly. And now the question is, how do I define the cast action considering is a hold and release? So if I go under input, I create a new input action, and this would be IA cast line, right? I think I would like to have probably fish in front of all the phishing actions so that I can find them easily. And I have no idea if something that you hold should be a float or should be a boolean. Because there was actually hold, right? Trigger fires once input has remained actuated for all the time threshold seconds. Very nice, but well, yes and no, because in my case there is not a predefined value, right? The value changed dynamically. I see. So if you already know that you have to press for half a second, you know, you can use this. But in reality, I mean, if this cannot be hooked into a variable, I mean, is pretty useless, right? It is pretty useless. So we will have probably to do press and release so that we can use both. Trigger fire once and only when input exceed the actuation threshold. I mean, it should be 0. I mean, immediately. I mean, we want it immediately. We don't want a press of right. I think it's like the jump. I assume the jump does not have 0.5. Oh fuck, the jump has a 0.5. I mean, why? Why you want the jump to start after 0.5 seconds and not immediately? That's a bit weird. I mean, it is absolutely instant. There is for sure there is no 0.5 seconds of delay. So we don't understand what is 0.5 means then, because it's not 0.5 seconds for sure. It's 0.5 something else. I don't know what 0.5 is, but it's not 0.5. mean, we can continue. We should continue reading this. But meanwhile, I was trying to understand it myself, right? But yeah, the point is that if we say now, oh, I have a pressed and I have a released, right? And I don't know, the 0.5 to me is fine. I don't understand the 0.5. Let's leave it as default. Default is 0.5. It seems to work instantly anyway. So if I say that now my IMC default is a new mapping, and this new mapping is actually no, not the default. Sorry, not the default. The fishing guy, right? The fishing guy has a new mapping, and the mapping is cast, right? It's cast the line, and this one is mapped to C. Right, which is the same mapping of the other guy, by the way. Right, the same mapping. And now I change this to be my AI cast. What is the difference between this and this? Returns the value. Okay, I see. So here we have the now because here we had very clearly the pressed and released, right? Hello, Fanner. No, you are winning and winning. Oh my god, you're only winning. Glad to see you're still alive. Yeah, we were thinking that Hula was dead, but likely he was not. I don't know. It didn't seem a long time. So how do I say here, you know? I mean, what does correspond to pressed and released? I don't understand, right? Because here we have set in the action, right? In the action, we said that we have two triggers. We have the press trigger and the release triggers, right? So how do I now say that this thing has been? Is it this? I don't know. I cannot break it, so I don't know what is it. What is this? The input action that caused this event to fire. So here I have like pressed and released. No, I mean, how do I know what is it? I don't know. Okay, let's continue with we have to learn the thing from the official source, I guess. Okay, the basic structure of input marketing code is a hierarchy with a list of input action at top level. Under the input level is a list of user input you can trigger each input actions, a key, button, movement axis. Okay. The bottom level contains a list of input trigger input modifier for each user input, which you can use to determine how an input raw value is filtered for processing, what restriction must be met in order to drive an input action of the top of its hierarchy. How is filtered or processed? Okay. You can apply one or more of these quantities to a local player. One or more. One or more is very interesting. One or more is very interesting because then we could have okay, one or more is very good. I thought it was only one, but if it's one or more, but then how the hell do I associate more than one? Add mapping context. Okay. Do you have remove mapping context? Yeah, you have remove mapping context. Okay. Well, that's cool. So I could remove default. So if I remove default, you cannot move anymore, just because I removed the mapping of WASD, right? Okay, well, that's kind of nice. That is kind of nice because you can stop movement just by removing the input. Okay, that is kind of interesting. You can apply one or more contexts and prioritize them to resolve collision between multiple actions trying to consume the same input. Yeah, exactly. That is interesting also how to do it. Because is there a priority here? Well, there is an option. Option is ignore all press key until release, force immediately, notify user setting. No, these options are not very useful to prioritize. So there's probably a way to prioritize. When you add it, it is priority. So the first time you add it, you can decide a priority. Higher priority mapping will be applied first. Okay. Very nice. Very, very nice. That is good, huh? Okay. So in reality, I should not just remove this. I can, okay, fine. So if you have multiple contexts mapped to the same input action, then when the application is triggered, the context with the higher priority considered. Okay, for example, you can give a character who can swim, walk, and drive vehicle multiple input mapping context. One for common actions that are available always, and another for each individual mode of travel. Yeah, that is very, very nice. Which is pretty much what we want to do, right? Because like when you enter a vehicle, right, when you are driving a car, your input mapping will change, right? Yes. Yes. This is basically key to what we want to do. I think the only problem is that if you still map it the old way, because you know, here I still have my C. I think that this still wins over the mapping context. Because in reality, what I'm saying now is that, you know, this should happen, right? So we can say cast line, right? But and this is actually mapped to C when we are fishing, but it does not prevent. Actually, it says cast line in the print, but it also executes the other C. So it seems that this is happening and this is happening. These are both happening. These are both happening. So yeah, well, I mean, I can substitute it, right? I can substitute this with this. I only have to understand what is triggering the release, because I really need to trigger the release, right? And here I don't understand the release. Maybe the release, it corresponds to completed. Completed will not fire if any trigger reports ongoing for the same frame, but both should fire. Example, tick 2 of old. What does it mean, tick 2 of old? Tick 2 of old. So the second tick, okay, the second tick of the old is equal to ongoing. Plus pressed none will raise ongoing event only. Huh? It is so confusing. It is beyond confusing. And we can do this and we will see what happens. How many people did exactly the test I'm doing now? Hundreds. Okay. So if I just press C quickly, we see, oh my god. We saw a lot of stuff. We saw started, trigger, ongoing, trigger, completed. Holy fuck. If I hold it, the triggered seems to be... The trigger seems to happen at the end. I really don't understand the difference between triggered and completed, but anyway. Trigger is for both press down and press up and release, I mean, while started and completed is really the press and release. So can I have this multiple times or not? So if I change this, you know, so my trigger basically is, no, my started is this and my completed is this, right? And in theory I could remove this thing. So if I do the same, yeah, it works actually. Okay, this actually works exactly like it was working before, with the only difference that I don't know exactly what happened there. Do we have a problem when we don't have? But anyway, we can fix that. And it's not stopping the movement. It's kind of strange though, because this should be on rod now. No? My bobber is like flying. I have to check why that happens. But anyway, that's not related to this, right? I think it's the same or not. Let me see. I don't think it's related to this change. I think it's just that if you cast it in a place that is not castable after it's flying, bro. I don't understand exactly what is happening, but it seems it's not happening anymore. Now it's happening again. It's happening when you... Yeah, it's happening. It's a bit hard to reproduce, but basically if you cast multiple times, you enter kind of in a state that is fucked up. Okay, but that we can fix, right? Somehow. But basically this is, in the new system, this is started and completed. So basically if I press... you want a flying saucer, Hula? The flying saucer. Wasn't the flying saucer like a UFO? Like a UFO, like an alien thingy. Hmm. So you think it would be a unique feature, huh? like the best. So, okay. Now, I think I understand this. I think I understand this. So, yeah, so like in this case, right, I am possessing this character. So we are saying that this panel, right? This panel here is deprecated, right? Yes, in fact, it says that. Axis and action mapping are now deprecated. So this part is completely removed. Okay. So in our schema, right? Because in reality, right, in reality, there is another piece that I didn't mention here, which is the project settings. Right? And in the old world, if I open our our current project, right? Here we have a bunch of stuff, right? Here we have like the quick actions. I don't know if we have the WASD here, probably not, because that's on ALS, but let me ask a question to a guy, in case he's available. I think he's not, but anyway. Okay. Okay, so in the project settings we had a number of definitions, right? And basically all this we need to remove. We need to remove them all. Plus, these quick actions were actually linked here, right? And that also needs to go away. And so I think I need to define, I need to define a new thing. So I need to define like new context, right? This IMC, this mapping context, right? So I need to define like a mapping context for the shortcut bar, right? And when I am, for example, when I am in the mini game, I can remove the shortcut bar. And when I finish the mini game, I may enable it again. So that during the mini game, you cannot accidentally trigger. Yes, one of the, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think so I have to define which context we need. Of all the actions that we have, right? So basically all these keys, right? And yes, they can be grouped pretty much like they are grouped here. So you can have a movement context for your main character. So there will be a movement mapping context for your main character, which includes all of this. That we can actually remove when you are in the mini game. And then you can have a combat. Well, this can probably go together with a movement, right? Because if you can do this, you should be able to do this. Yeah, so I think this will be one block. Movement and combat will be a single mapping context. Then user interface, I think, will be a separate mapping context. And then quick bar will be a separate mapping context as well. Yeah. And then fishing will be a separate mapping context, right? So context is? How do we have context? What is the plural form of context? Plural form of context. Contexts? Okay, easy. So we'll have movement and combat, then we will have user interface. Like opening windows and such. And then we will have quick bar bindings. Right. And then I think it would be nice if we can split the dice mini game also in a different context, so that I think it would be nice, because at the moment I have a bit of a mess at the moment with the mini game, right? So the mini game is like in between Hello, Infinite Heaven. Hi. The plural context is context in most applicable situation. Okay. I don't know. Dictionaries say context, but yeah. So I'm trying to learn this new enhanced input mapping, which actually is available since Unreal Engine 5 and seems to do good stuff compared to the old system. And I have to say that in the old system, I was struggling mostly to properly map the shortcut bar keys because they are dynamic, right? So you have a shortcut, you can bind it to any key you want, and that was resulting in the code a bit of a mess, plus a number of warnings from Unreal Engine that stuff was not defined, right? Because if I go here, plus there is another problem, right? That here we had so there were certain modes, right? There are certain modes, like when we go in inspection mode, when we go in transformation mode, when we go in combat mode, right? These are all different states of our character that at the moment I am kind of managing in the single input, right? And that is very annoying, because you have all this branch, right? While I think in the new system, with the mappings, with the context, right, you can say, oh, now you are in inspecting mode, and so this should happen, right, when you right click or left click. Now I don't even understand, I don't even see. Okay, and here is the mini game, right? Is mini game, because the mouse button down is doing something different when you are in the mini game, right? And so I had to put it there. So basically today whenever you click in the game, we are doing these checks that are a bit unnecessary, right? And so yes, for example, when you are inspecting an item, you see that here basically when you are inspecting, you basically disabled the selection, right? We disable the selection. And the same, when we are inspecting, I disabled the right click, right? Or in this case, when the selection ends, I'm doing the stop inspecting. Yeah, exactly. So I think that in that logic, right, we should have an inspect mode that is basically changing the way the mouse is handled. The mouse handling is different. And we should have the dice minigame, right? Where also here is a matter of mouse handling, but now that we have a completely new system to manage actions, maybe we will add additional keys. Right? I didn't do it because I mean, it was kind of annoying. But now, like, so I mean, this revolutionized a lot. Yeah. Because we have two possibilities. We have the possibility to possess another actor. And then when we possess the other actor, we have a number of new mappings. And we have all the logic inside that actor, which is pretty much what we did here, right? So what we did here, we say, oh, when you are fishing, you actually become another actor, right? And that actor is doing all of this. But I think that now with this new system, is this really needed, right? Is this really needed? I think we may avoid possessing another actor, and we may just switch the input context, because I did this pretty much just to separate more easily the action mappings, right? I mean, in theory, we can still create this actor. You know, it's not a problem to create this actor. We can create it and destroy it, but I don't think that the input context really needs to be on this actor, because this was a misconception on my side, right? I thought, oh, I have an input mapping context by actor. This is what I thought, right? But it's wrong. Because the input mapping context is on the player controller, and you can have one or more. You can group them by functionality, and you can add and remove the one that you need at any time. So when you enter fishing mode, right, I can remove this, I can remove this, I can remove this, and I can keep my fishing minigame only. And then when the fishing minigame ends, I can add back my movement, my user interface, and my quick bar. The blueprint is freaking huge. I've done the majority of C++. Well, I think that for the UI is very handy, because you have I mean, visually is easier, right? Visually is easier. If you don't need performances, you know, here, I mean, when the user clicks, right, you don't really need. big performances, so I think it's fine. Yeah, I understand this one is a bit complex, but it's still very reasonable. It's still very reasonable, but it's very, it's very nice to visually to connect, the ones that you need. Like in a case like this, you say, oh, if it's a bow, right, it goes here, right, and then you have all your bow thingy. So visually, I think it's very nice. Obviously, you need to know it a bit to navigate, and now, I mean, I built it, so I navigate on it fairly well. But there are some of these functions, yeah, they call C++, right? So there are some functions are actually C++ function for simplicity. But I don't think that in general, our blueprints are very big. I mean, I've seen way bigger blueprints than this. Way bigger blueprints. So I think that basically we can have, yes, so now that I think about it, right? So if we could define, right, this is not an easy change, right? Because this code, I mean, these things are pretty much everywhere, right? In our blueprints and also in some of the C++ code, because ALS is actually using input mappings, right, for I think it's in base character probably, but he has input, yeah, setup player input component. So now this will have to be changed a bit, because this is the old bind access, right? And in the new world, is bind action. Well, actually, so the C++ is the same? No, because the input is different, right? The input here is an enhanced input component, while here is the old player input component. Yeah, exactly, input component. Yeah, is different. So we will have to switch this. Now we can see if in the new ALS they are already doing this, because we will have any way to switch to that one day. Where the hell do I find that? Here. This is under ALS public character, ALS basic, this is ALS public character, ALS base character. This one was modified when? It was modified 2 years ago. 2 years ago? Yeah, but it's possible, huh? No, wait, this is the CPP, huh? ALS base character CPP, so it will be under private. Private. Yeah, because I think it didn't change the definition, right? But it changed probably, so this one, 2 years, it's still 2 years ago though. ALS base character. And this is set player input, setup player, setup player input. He removed it. Setup player input. It seems that in the new version it's not here anymore. It seems that in the new version it's not here anymore. Yep. Bind action. Why is not here anymore? Interesting. Probably because he's using the new stuff or not. Because this has changed during the years, right? And I feel that it may be. Yeah, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. Or it was moved in ILS character. There is an ALS character movement component. Did I add that? Yeah, I had that, but I don't know. No, input is definitely not here. So it's probably doing it in a different way now. I don't understand where is it. When is the last change? When is the last change? 4 months ago. Yeah, it was just Discord invite change. Yeah, it seems he's doing it differently. Does it have much of my intermediate EU knowledge? Maybe that's what most blueprint end up looking like. Yeah, I think it is very likely that you branch in the. But I mean, you can create sub functions, right? You can create so. Like for example, this one, right, in reality goes into this other function. So if you split it enough, right, if you make it encapsulated enough, I think is fine at the end. And also I really suggest that you create different graphs, right? So you have like your main graph, but then you have, for example, I have everything about magic and combat is in this graph, right? Or ALS player input, by the way. Exactly. This one, well, it's all disabled because it's all in C++. But yeah, or perceptions, right? Or mini games, right? So if you divide the groups this way, it's very easy to find. Like everything that is audio and music, you're not gonna touch it if you're working on other stuff. So the more you split and separate, the easier it would be. But yeah, I have a lot of blue. I mean, we have like 700 or so blueprint classes. So when you search for something, right, it tells you, because you do like test, and then you search here, right? And you see here the number 238. Okay, I thought it were more than 238. Oh no, here it is. 739. Yeah, 739. So there is actually quite a bit that we have, but because our project is very big, right? Our project is very big. It's big in blueprints and it's big in C++. So it's a very big project. I mean, it's a kind of an indie, do it for fun kind of project, but at the end, it has all the characteristics of a real project. Okay, so I think that the end result we have to, the end result for us will be this. The problem I have is how the hell can I do this now, right? I mean, if I would start from scratch, I could easily define it this way, right? But this is already pretty much everywhere in our code, right? So, for example, if I want to separate, the easiest would be these two, right? The inspect mode and the minigame mode and the dice minigame, right? Because when you so how do I, if I want to do it, right, how would I do this? Well, I will definitely have to search for minigame, search a reference to a minigame camera. I mean, that's fine. It is not affecting. Yeah, this is the part, right? Because this is where it says, oh, if you are in that minigame, then do something different. And it is what we really don't want to have, actually. Where is this line going? UI interaction drag icon resides window. So it's basically allowing you to drag the windows, but is completely skipping the other functions. But still, I'm a bit lost on how. I mean, in the new enhanced input, right? How does this look? So we only have mouse down and mouse. So we have mouse pressed and mouse released, right? And then we have mini game. I mean, minigame is not even here. So the right click basically is doing nothing in the minigame. It's only the left click that is doing something. It's only the left click. So if I create a new action mapping and I call it, I mean, we can try to do it, right? Just to reason on it. So if we don't have a place to store all of that, but I think it could be under blueprints. And I think maybe under blueprints, we can have a new folder that is called action mappings. I probably would like to put it in a separate place because otherwise because there will be a lot of them. Really a lot. So I think I can create a new folder. And this will be called action mappings, right? Action mapping. So I have my mouse press and released. And my mouse press and released is similar to my cast line, with the difference that it should be done with the mouse. Left button, right button. Yeah, I think it would be the same. I think it will be the same. But then what do I have? I have a pressed and released. Yeah, I think I have a pressed. Can I have a pressed and released also with the mouse? I assume so. Okay, so I will create a new. Yeah, we need to navigate a bit into this because I never did it. So So this will be AI. How do we call it in a way that then I think we can call it just dice minigame. No. I think we can put dice in front of it and then fish. And then, yes, so we have IA and then the major function. So like dice and then whatever it does. In this case is mouse, in this case is left mouse. I mean, in theory, this should be an action, right? In our case is a shake, but depends because you can shake the cup, right? But you can also zoom in. So depending on the phase of the game, you can do different stuff when the mouse is up or down. You know what? I think I will call it left mouse click for now. It's not really an action, I know, but it's exactly how we implemented it now. That then based on the phase of the game, the left mouse is doing different things. We may then split it, but this is pretty much what it is now. So and this one will be what? This one will be a boolean then, yes or no, right? Because we said that yes, and the trigger will be we will have a trigger pressed and a trigger released, right? And nothing else. And then we will have a context mapping, right? They will be called IMC dice. I can also call it dice minigame, right? In this INC dice minigame, we'll have my dice mouse click that is driven by the mouse left button, and nothing else here, right? And nothing else here. Okay. So now what is the beauty of this? The beauty of this is that I can basically, yeah, but until my old mouse click is not in this new system, this will not override, right? The old system. That's the issue I have, I think, because I can put in PSK, I can associate my I mean, we can try. So the way to add the input mapping is this, right? But is this overridden by I think I will have to remove the old map. Yeah, exactly. I have to remove the old mapping. Otherwise, both will trigger, and this is not what we want. So until I create, this separately, they will both trigger. And that is very, 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 very annoying. I mean, it's not a lot of work because it's actually only in 2 places, right? Well, actually only in 1 place because is under, I mean, in our main project, right? This is the left click and this is the right click. There are no other places. Everything is included here. So if I just change these 2 actions, right? Select object and context menu, which are actually defined in the old way, right? Under inputs here. Context menu, and select object, right? So if I remove these two lines, it's a bit of a bold move, but if I delete it, right? If I delete, I think I should. If I delete it, and then I put these two into a context mapping new system, this will not override anymore, right? This will not override anymore. Do we want to do it? I mean, yeah, I think we can. Or I can leave it there, but just not connect it, right? If it's not connected, it will not override. Yeah, let's before removing it, because I don't know if that has impact on other stuff. Before removing it, let's just disconnect from here, right? So if I create my default IMC, I think I don't have any IMC, right? No, apart from the two that I created now, there are no other IMC. So I will have to create a new IMC, which is basically we called it movement and combat, right? So this is IMC move and combat. And this one we'll have our left click. And now I don't know if I should really name it, right? When I create my input action for this guy, should I name it left click, right click? I think it's a bit misleading, but I think I should name it like I named it in the default one, which is select object and context menu. So this will be AI main, right? Select object, and then it will be AI main, IA main, context menu, right? Which basically corresponds to what I have there. And so this will have select object in context menu, right? Where select object is my mouse left click, and he has my pressed and released, right? And then we have this, which is my mouse right mouse button, and for the Mac users, they only have one button. I don't know what to do. Pressed and released. Okay. So now that we have this, in theory, right, I could say, yeah, because now I have to associate it. Where do I associate it? I think I associate it like, let me see how Unreal Engine does it by default. I think in the third person character, right? In the, yeah, here it is. In the default, in the begin play, they are associating this, right? Now, our begin play is a bit of a mess because I mean, in the begin play of the character, because we have mounts, right? We have mounts, and when you are on a mount, the character is another character. So this will break the mounts 100%. But you know what I find it a bit funny, right? Why in the begin play of the character we go and do something on the player controller, right? Why we don't do it on the begin play of the player controller? Anyway, we can do it on the begin play of the character, but basically what I'm saying is that this will work also if you switch character, because this is actually not a definition on the character, it's a definition on the player controller, right? So it will not break the mounts actually. Yeah, it will not break the mounts. No, it will not break the mounts. No, it will not. It's just that Unreal Engine is ensuring that the character is valid, because otherwise you cannot move just with the player controller, right? Yeah, I think that's the why. Okay, so I mean, if that's the case, then should be fairly easy. This is the dummy project, right? So we go back to our project. This is our project. So I would say I'm fine. I don't know if we have a begin play here, because yeah, we do have, but our begin play is a little monster. Yeah, our begin play is a little monster, as you can see. Because there are different things that need to happen, right? So there is me, another player, an NPC client side, right? And definitely I don't want to touch that. I don't want to touch that. So it is only for me client side, it is NPC only server side, and it is player only server side. So basically we have to do it here, right? We have to do it only for me client side. I am assuming that there is a fully client based object, right? This enhanced thingy, so I don't have to set it server side. I really hope so. I mean, we can test that if we do this. We can test it if we do no, I mean, yeah, I could do if is server, right? We don't do that, and we see if it's still working. If I do if I do is server false, do it. If server true, don't do anything, right? My fishing camera. Uh-oh. I cannot cast. What the fuck? So, huh? I mean, it needs it server side? I mean, it needs server side the input mapping? What the fuck? I thought mounts were to be handled with a visual change only when modifying the speed of the carrier controller. It's way more complex than that. At least, yeah. Because you have your character and then you have the mount, right? So you need to attach the two, but your character has, you know, equipment and, you know, visual traits and the color of the air and whatever, right? So you don't want to destroy your character. You have to keep your character and then mount it on another character, but then the input that you give by keyboard or mouse, whatever, mainly for the movement, needs to go through the mount and not through your character, right? And then generates a number of other issues that we solved already in the past. So I'm a bit surprised that if each server is false, right? This thing does not work. That is so weird. Is it because when you simulate it in Unreal Editor, that is always false? Ah, because that is always false. Is it? Yeah. Okay. I think this is a problem of the editor, the simulation of the editor. Because you see that I think it is server, because the client is also considered the server in this setup, right? And so I think this mess up with this check. But in our project it should be fine, right? So I think it should be fine to do it here. This is what I'm saying. So what are we doing here? Camera setup, UI setup, camera setup, set the vision post processor. We do a reference to the menu icons. We add vision switch window, and we do the mouse scale, and we do the change small font tip tool size, which I don't know what is it, but anyway, we do something with the icon tool size. I don't know exactly why we do this here, but game instance setting panel, modified icon tooltip font size, icon tooltip font size. I don't know exactly what we do here, but it's fine. But anyway, so here we could do, right? So here we have our player controller, right? Which is our player controller ref, which is a variable, right? Is this thing. And here we could do this, right? And here we could do add mapping context, right? Which is basically move and combat, right? And here we add our IMC main with priority 0. So this will basically re-enable what I'm going to disable now, right? Which is this. So now if I do IA main, select object, right? And then in the same way I do started and completed, and I disable this, right? And then I do the same here with IA context menu, and I connect started and completed, and I disable this. So in theory now should be identical, but using the new system. Yeah, that sounds mad complex. What do you mean sounds mad complex? How do you do a mount otherwise? I'm planning on making a fishing minigame myself one of these days, but it's going to take a lot of time just to get it right. You want to make a fishing minigame? Yeah, it's fun. Okay, so let's try to launch it as it is and see if basically now our game should work as normal, but is actually using the new enhanced input just for the mouse clicks, right? Which is not much, but anyway, it's something. It's the beginning, right? It's the beginning of the conversion, I guess. It's the beginning of the conversion. So we will see if it works now with the client only, right? Because we actually run that part of the code client only. So if I right click on the water, nice. But if I click on me, no. What? No, it seems to be working, but not exactly. Wait a sec. Wait a second. No, it doesn't work. The right click doesn't work. Ah, wait, because I have my rod in my hand. When the rod is in my hand, everything is different. Ah, yes, it works perfectly. Okay, fantastic. Yes, it works fantastic. It works exactly. Okay, fantastic. So this is very good. So this means that basically now we are using the new system, and I can delete this too. And so now, but now if I fish, let me just check something. If I fish, right? But we are not adding the IMC fish, so actually that will not work. So I mean, this will work, okay, fine, but no, okay, but I think it is good. So I can delete this. And I can delete this. And you may say, oh, well, is it identical to before, right? So you didn't do any change. Well, true. I didn't do any major change at the moment, but it means that we are using the new IMC thingy here. And this means that I can start, right, to remove this thing and this thing. So these minigame controls, right, I can move them somewhere else. So I can have my minigame left mouse, right? Yeah, the only problem is, do I remove the normal click? Yeah, I have to remove the normal click. Yeah, I have to remove the normal click. So when I enter the mini game, which I don't know when it happens, but it should be fairly easy to find, right? Because, and now we are speaking here of a different mini game, not the fishing mini game, but it's the same thing, right? By the way, yeah, you see how distributed it is. So like here we have input, look down, look up, right? Which are also rigged. So this will move to yeah, this is a bit what I'm confused now. Okay, let's do the mouse click. Let's do the mouse click. The mouse click is enough. Let's do one thing at a time. If we try to do 10 things at a time, we would not survive, okay? So when are we setting the mini game? Okay. So it's fairly easy. We have an enter mini game and exit mini game. It's only 2 places, right? So it's fairly clean, right? So here we enter in the mini game because it's a mini game setup start, right? And so here we will have to, you see that we have a disabled movement, by the way, that is disconnected because I wanted to disable movement while playing the mini game, but I didn't know how to do it. So I was basically blocking the character. But if we change it with the new IMC, I think we can fix this automatically. Haha. Okay, so let's say that here we do here we are already on player controller, right? So if I do get an answered input, whatever, what is the difference between these two? No, it's the same. It's the same one. So if we get this, and then we remove, right? We remove the default mapping the move and the whatever. Yeah, the move and combat. So we remove the default one. And then we add the minigame one. Right? Dice minigame with priority, let's say 1 instead of 0. Well, we said that the higher priority wins. Higher priority mapping will be applied first. Anyway, I removed the other, so it's fine. Anyway, let's say 1. Let's say that we want this to now be the main guy, right? And then when I am exiting from the minigame, which is here, I don't know if here we have the player controller ref. We don't have the player controller ref in this thing. Well, it's here, is here, so no problem. There is another mini game. There is the dice mini game that we have, but I think is a good example, you know, to understand the logic, right? So it's a good place to practice this new module. So basically here, right, if I paste no, I really like this new enhanced input. I think it's really good. I just need to master it a bit more, right? I need to master it a bit more, but I think it's very good. Okay, so here we have to do the opposite, right? So we will remove the mini game and we will add the move and combat with priority 0, because originally that is added as priority 0, right? Okay, so what should happen now is that when I enter into the mini game, let me think about it. I cannot save because the game is open. Yeah. When I enter into the mini game, okay, so let's do the change. Like, let's make the change. So the change is that in here, under mouse and keyboard, I can basically remove this. Okay, the only problem is that we may still have other windows open during the minigame. And so what we were ensuring here, you see that this line basically skipping everything, right? This line skips everything of this graph, but it goes here where we have the window management. This part is the window management. So, I mean, one way to do it will be to probably add a new event that we call left click window management, or even better, window management left click, and that goes here, right? And then have a window management right click that actually goes here, so that we can still call that without being on this graph. So we can put all our mini game in another graph and then just call this as needed, right? I think it is way cleaner than skipping the graph and doing whatever I'm doing. So I think this will be window management, right click, right, and this goes here, so that, well, let's say here. So I think this actually makes it nicer because now I can really remove this completely, and I can move it into my mini. So this main select object does not exist when we are in minigame mode. It does not exist, right? So it's not gonna call this at all, which is fantastic. Instead, it's calling dice left mouse click, right? So in our mini game now, right? Graph, we just call our AI dice minigame left click, and we do pretty much what we were doing. Wait. Here. And we don't even need this is mini game anymore, right? We don't need, I mean, we can still check it if you want, but it's completely pointless. This check is pointless because we go there only when we are in mini game mode. So I would say that this branch is completely useless, right? And the only thing that we should do minigame mouse down pressed or not, right? I think so. So we will do this. But then, right, then we call our window management left click. In our window management, oh wait, I fucked up. It's not left click, right click, is press and release. Yeah, exactly. Is press and release. So actually is wait, yeah, it's this line, it's this line that goes here. Yeah, sorry, it's not left click or right click. Is Windows management left click down, right, and left click up. This is the right. These are the two functions, yes. Left click down and left click up. Now, that is a bit of a, yeah, I mean, it's making the things a bit more spaghetti code, but you know spaghetti code or not? No, so it is up. Right? Which is basically allowing us to still resize windows and do stuff while we are in the mini game. Otherwise, because the mini game, because the window resizing is actually using. Now, if you want to make it even more compatible with this new IMC system, we could have this, right, defined as an additional context for Windows management, And we could leave that in all cases. Yeah, exactly. That would be very nice. But anyway. Okay, so with this change, in theory, I can now remove this completely. Right, so let me disconnect it. And we will delete it in a second, but and this will go directly here, right? And in the future we can remove this as well, right? If we create another context that is for the inspect mode, we can also remove that, which is very nice, right? So we will basically simplify this graph a lot based on this. We could even do it with the transformation mode. We could even do it for this, and yeah, exactly. I think I may have a transformation mode as a separate context. I need to think about it. I'm not completely sure, but I think it could be another one, yes. Okay, so if I save all now, basically you see that I have disconnected this, right? So he's not running this code, but it should be running. It should be running. Where the hell is that? Here. It should be running this code, which is just calling this, which is what it was calling before, right? Yeah. So, I mean, it's a long time I don't test that mini game, so it may be broken for other reasons, but let's try. Let's try the dice mini game, and so what I should be able to do, I should be able to zoom in on the dice, and I should be able to shake the cup to actually throw the dice, and I should not select anything in the 3D world. Oops, I fucked up. Anything in the 3D world while I'm in the mini game, right? I think this completely removes the need of a separate actor that I created just to simplify my life, but with this system. Now the only problem is if I have my fishing rod equipped. That is something that I have to think about, right? But okay, so we want to play the dice mini game. So the dice mini game, I need an item that I don't know if I have here. Let me just check in case I already have it. I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't see a mini game, so I would say no. I would say no. Okay, I think it's called dice board. Yeah, it's called dice board. So if I have the dice board on the ground and I just click on play, here we are on the mini game setup, right? So I can add dices. I mean, this click works anyway because yeah, this click works anyway, but this click where I'm shaking the dices, That is the one that works thanks to the new system, right? And then when I release, this happens. And then I can zoom in. Okay, everything works. Everything works as expected. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Look at these beautiful, beautiful dices that we have. Look at these fantastic dices. Let's go, boys! Do you want to play with me? Dice versus dice. One, two, three, five. Okay, but this system actually works well. Hello, Upside Yonder. Yeah, we have many dice sets. All these dice sets you can have. Well, actually, they are unlocked in game based on your, I think, based on the hours that you have in the game. So at the beginning, you only have this one, and then you start to get the other ones. There is not really a quest, you know, to unlock the different dices, but there may be in the future. I really like the D12, by the way. The D12 is a fantastic dice. I mean, the D20, obviously. I mean, D20 kind of wins by default, but the D12 is very, very nice. By the way, this is basically doing nothing. I mean, it's just a visual effect for the player, but while you do this, you do nothing, right? It's not that it makes any difference in the result, because I'm anyway randomizing, right? I'm anyway randomizing the results. Ten 197. Okay, so and then I'm back here and my selection works again, right? Fantastic, bro. It works perfectly. Seems incredible, but it works perfectly at the first run. So this add and remove works fantastic. Okay. Very good. So actually we can remove from here that mess. So we start to unwind a bit our graphs, right? I could do the same with the inspect, but because basically with the inspect we are just disabling the left click, right? So I don't want you to click on anything. So while inspecting, left click does nothing. And this could be another mode. So we can set up another enhance mode. I mean mode input context, right? To remove also this. Yeah, I mean, we only added this too because we want window management to work anyway, right? But okay, so in theory I can really delete, and we can do it now. I can really delete the input settings, right? Let me just ensure that it's not used by anything else. And I think it should not be used by anything else. So if I search context menu, well, this is the new one, right? This is the new one, but the old one should be gone. Well, there is a bunch of other context menu that is not. Right? And yes, the setup is only client side. How is this system replicated? You mean the dice game? The dice game is replicate. Yeah, you can play with 2 players actually. So one player can join the mini game. Hello. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Swinger. Hello, Swinger. Hey, thank you for the follow and welcome. So if now I delete, right, I go in my project settings under input and I delete context menu and I delete select object, right, everything should still work. Because all this part now is deprecated, right? In Unreal Engine 5, this part is not to be used anymore. And so what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to remove it. Slowly but surely. We're going to remove it. Yeah. Do you want to see 2 players playing? We can. It is replicated through... It is replicated normally. I mean, it's replicated to RPC, right? But as you see, I'm doing a very big trick, which is I'm covering the dices and then I'm showing you the result. Because replicating the real movement of the dice was a mess, and I decided not to do it. Because the dices were never properly replicated, and also, well, and if they were, it was anyway taking a freaking insane amount of resources, right? And I didn't want that. So I'm basically covering the dices, and then I'm placing them under the hood in the position I need them. But you don't know. But you don't know. You think that you are shaking the cup. But you are not. So if I put my mini game down, do we have a table at least? Okay, at least with a table. Okay, let's have at least a table. Playing without a table sounds a bit weird. Okay, I added a table, right? Which, by the way, this table has a very old texture, but that's what it is. And I put the mini game on top. And then I get our mythical Momires. Our mythical Momires. Momires is a big friend of ours that participated to a lot of testing. So Momires goes into the other side of the board, right? And may even bet some money, right? If he wants. And now we will probably see a crash, but let's see. So I play the mini game. And Momires plays the mini game. Ah. So you see, I see the name of my opponent on the other side. And magically a new cup appears. Ah. High technology. Ah, look at this technology that we have in this game. And then I select this dice, this type of dice. Ah, look at how the dice is going also in the other client. Ah, obviously they will never be in the same position, by the way. So I'm just adding the dice, right, and having it fall down, but it's not falling down in the same way it's falling down on your client, but no one knows, right? I decided to reset. Ah, also the reset works. Fantastic. So let's do 3 dices, okay? 3 dices. So this guy says, okay, I will use, oh fuck, this guy doesn't have a set. Because this guy is new, so he cannot select any, so he can only use the base set. So he doesn't have a nice dice set, right? Then this guy do shakes. I do shake. And these are the results. 15 to 6. Why I see it a bit fucked up here? The position is not very good actually. The position of this number should be more to the right. I didn't consider that. Or the cup should be more to the left. Okay. So it doesn't tell you who wins and who doesn't win, because actually there are no rules, so you can decide your own rule, right, when playing with someone else. But yeah, basically I can say Momiras won, right, and Talad lost. Then we can reset and do it again. Wee. It didn't work. It didn't work here. It worked now. I don't know, you have to shake a bit more, I don't know why. And if you want, you can zoom in on the dices, right? You can zoom in on your dices, you can zoom in on the enemy dices. And this time I won. Now, I would like this to be actually used also with NPC, and technically it is possible, right? An NPC could be able to play the dice game with you, and there can be a small quest or something where you have to win, but that is all to be done, right? So, but it's possible, because this is actually a player, and it is like an NPC pretty much. Okay. So now that we did this, and also I show you the nice minigame, which by the way you can play in-game right now if you want, because remember that our game is released and the server is up, so you can click on download now and just play it, and you can play the minigame, and everything else is in our game now. But let's pick up this stuff. Let's say goodbye to Momiras. Bye, Momiras. And let's think what we want to do now. So with this new idea of the enhanced input that we didn't have because our game started with Unreal Engine 4, right? And that was not existing. What can I do more? I mean, I can fix now the fishing. So now for fishing, I really need to think how to do it. Because fishing already has this IMC, right? Which is giving us the look and the zoom, but it doesn't have the C for the cast, because that C for the cast is actually on the fishing actor. But that is not necessary anymore. I think that creating a separate actor and possessing the actor becomes completely useless at this point. Yeah, I think it does. I mean, I can still create it, right? Just because I have the code here, but it's not needed. I mean, I could have placed everything. I mean, I did this because I wanted to separate the code, and I wanted to have a cleaner... I mean, I didn't want to mess up with my PS character more, right? Because there is already enough in this class. So I said, oh, let's create another actor. And I can still create the actor, but I think the point is that I don't need to possess it anymore. Because all this can become just a new context, a new mapping, action mapping context, input mapping context, right? I just have to do it differently. And we can do that. And I want to do that. So let me see, what are... I mean, there are some testing things, like this T is just a test, right? So this one we can remove it. The R is also a test, so we can remove it. The ones that are real are the C, where you cast the line, the F, when you exit from fishing mode, and then the WASD, when you move the bobber, right? When you and I don't think I have the mouse move. Yes, I have the mouse move because is the camera movement, right? Is the camera movement. So okay. So I think what I will do then is this. I will try to not possess anymore the fishing actor. I will still spawn the fishing actor, I think it's fine. So I don't have to change a lot of the code, right? Because if I remove this, is a mess. Anyway, it's an invisible actor, so it's fine. We can still, in theory, it's not necessary, but it's just to separate the code. So we still spawn this, but we will not possess it, right? So if I don't possess it, then if I don't possess this, yeah, everything should work normally as long as I have my inputs. So I will remove also the possess back, right? When we possess back our character, so I will remove that as well. And then I will do this. So the only problem is yes, fuck. Well, no, because the only problem is that, okay, now I have to go in my PS character, and then here I have my fishing minigame, right? And okay, I can go minigame dice. This can be the dice minigame, this can be the fishing minigame, fine, but I will have to dice minigame. I will have to do what? I will have to create a new graph, right? And this will be fish minigame. So in reality, I am moving code back to my PS character. Because, I mean, can I define my input action in a place that is not my main character? I don't think so. So that would not work, right? That would not work. And we have to test what happens when I'm mounted, right? When I'm mounted on a mount. Because that, I don't know if that will break everything or not. In theory, should not. But so now what do? I define these as functions, and then I say exit fishing. I don't know if I want to exit fishing by F, by the way. I think it's kind of annoying. But at least the C, which is the cast line, you know, we need to have. So look and zoom. So on this actor, on this mapping context, I need all those events, right? I'm trying to reason if that's the way it should be done, but yes, I think is this the way it should be done. I mean, if you want to adhere to this new concept, so I will have a new action that is cast line, right? Fish cast line. And I will have a new now the move, right? In theory, the move I can get from can I copy it? I mean, I don't want to redo it. The move is the same as the move that we have in the standard, right? This one. Because he has what? The move as... but it's very simple. It's just a 2D axis. Yeah, but then is the IMC default that on the move as a bunch of... Yeah, I want to copy this guy. Can I copy this guy? Copy all properties in group. Like that. Can I copy it inside of my fishing actor? Cannot paste. I can only copy, I cannot paste. What do you mean? No, I copied from this other project. Where do you put it? You put it in your own clipboard, which is not my clipboard? What do you mean? Fuck. Why? Because it's not compatible or what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe it needs the same number. No, it doesn't. Shit. Okay, I will copy it manually. GG. But it's very annoying because there is a lot of reasoning into this thing. You know, there is this Weasel, whatever. Let me see if I copy only the W, maybe. Copy. Paste. This worked. Fuck, but he didn't copy this. He didn't copy the Weasel. Nah, it's not copying shit. Okay. So I have to copy them manually. Okay. So it's W. I mean, wait a second though, because this is not what I need. No, sorry. That is bullshit. I don't need any of that. I mean, I need this, but I need it as what? So this one does not have a action defined. So it's defined directly inside of the context menu. Because there is not an action W, right? Okay. So yeah, but then I don't understand. I mean, if I just do W, right? I just do W. I should at least have the pressed, right? Yes. I should have W pressed. Yeah, I can do it like this. I think I can do it like this. So why you need to define it in the other one then? I mean, why? Then I'm a bit confused now. So why we create these actions if any way you can define exactly the same stuff inside the IMC? It's because you may want to reuse them between different IMC. Okay, that's probably the reason. Because you see here I'm defining everything here and it's done, right? Without creating an action for W, an action for A, an action for S, an action for D. But I need at least this though. Because all these one are together. So I need anyway a move. Axis 2D. Axis 2D, I don't know, but fine. I don't think that this is meaningful to me. Okay, let's do it anyway. So this will be move bobber. This will be IA fish move bobber, right? And it is axis 2D, so it basically allows the WAS whatever, but and nothing else. It doesn't have any other properties. No, it doesn't have any other properties. It's identical to this one. Okay, well, then yeah, this part has confused me a bit though, because I just want to press some keys which actually correspond to directions, yes, but okay. And then I want the cast of the line. So I want the fish cast line, and this fish cast line should be C keyboard. And this one should have the pressed and released. Huh? Wait. The pressed and released, yes. So, okay. And these are all the one that we have, right? We don't have anything else. We have the we also have the F to exit from the fishing minigame. I mean, we can put it on X, or I don't know what is a good mapping, but or escape. Well, escape. Maybe we can put it on escape. I think escape is more intuitive than F, for sure. Even if F stands for fishing, but yeah. So the point is, do I need an action that is exit fishing to define it on the context, or I can create one mapping which is actually empty and just to say X? I don't know. I mean, it looks like I have to, but I don't know. Let's say fish exit, right? And this would be just the pressed, right? Because we just pressed one. And then in my fishing actor, I will have a new mapping. There will be this fish exit, and fish exit will be escape, right? Do you have escape on Mac as well? No. Now the other question will be, how do I you can why? Yeah, you can anywhere in CPP. I don't know in BP. You just need an answer input local player subsystem. You were probably answering to something that I said some time ago. Sorry, I just read it now. But yeah, the point is that now we have that. So I'm not possessing this fishing actor BP anymore. I'm just, but I need now to use, I need to add this, right? I need to add this, and again, I need to remove the default. Remember, if I remove the default, the window movement and window resizing is not working anymore. Unless I do what I did with the minigame, with the other minigame that I added. Yeah. So now, what do I do? So now I have, whenever I start fishing, right? Whenever I start fishing, which is the possess that I deleted, so I will never find it again. No. Well, I actually disconnected it, so actually it is possible to find here, right? So here. Do we have the player controller? We are in the player controller. Okay, fantastic. So this is when we start fishing. Okay, start fishing. We remove the default. Remove the default. And we add fishing with priority 1, right? And then when we exit, which at the moment is F, but fine. Which is actually here. We do we have the player controller? No. Okay. But I don't know if you have seen it, but it was a very nice offer on. Where did I buy it from? From Epic? I think I bought it from Epic. In the Epic launcher, there were discounts for the Black Friday. I don't know if they are still on, but I think they are still on. Yeah, they are still on. And there was the whole Mass Effect Legendary Addiction, which is, I don't know if it's still here, which is a $60, kind of a $60 bundle, right? I mean, assuming that you like Mass Effect, but if you do, I think it's not showing to me anymore because I bought it, but it was discounted like 90%. Yeah, this one, Legendary Addiction. And so it was coming down for like, yeah, exactly. From is discounted 92%. And so instead of 60 euro, you get it at 4.7 euro. The whole Legendary Addiction, which includes Mass Effect, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, and 30 and 40 DLC. So I don't know, for less than 5 euro, I just bought it. I just said okay. Okay. I mean, less than 5 euro. Yeah, so I don't know if you played it, but it's a very nice game. And I think it's worth 5 euro, even if it's an old game, right? But there is the remastered version, which is better. I mean, it's still an old game, so don't expect anything, you know, crazy, but it's very, very reasonable quality. This picture, the old one was better, I think, but anyway. No, I mean, it was darker, so okay. So in here we remove the fishing and we add back our movement thingy. Okay. Okay, so now the problem is that we have to convert this actor to use that mapping, right? And so what do I do? EA fish exit started. Right. The only problem is this thing is so big, but it's a bit annoying because it's bigger than a normal action, but apart from that, no problems. Yeah, here is where I'm a bit confused, right? Because how do I do this now? For the WSAD, how do I do this? I mean, the end is okay because it's a separate, and the cast the line also is okay. This one is also okay because I just do start and complete. I understand that. Right, so that's easy. But how do I do the W whatever ASD? How do I do that, considering that I don't have a single, right? Because if I say fish move bobber, I mean, this is not possible for me. I need 4 separate actions. I mean, I don't understand how. Yeah, I think in a single action works only for movement because it's basically a plus minus value on 2 axes. Yeah, okay. So we cannot do it that way. Yeah, this is why I was confused, and yeah, we cannot do it that way. So this fish move is not a thing, right? This fish move is not a thing. This should be a digital, and it should be pressed and released. Well, even pressed is okay. Only pressed, and this should become move bobber move bobber up, right? Down, left, and right. So we should have 4 of them. Yeah, I cannot do it in the other way. Huh? Okay. So now what? They are all identical, by the way. They are all trigger pressed. Yes, they are all identical. They are all identical, so I don't need to add anything else there. But now in my fishing actor, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does, but just for one key, right? So up will be down. Now, if I have to remap all these keys, right? Because actually for our main character, we are remapping all of this based on the bindings. How do you remap it at runtime? But I assume that is possible. I hope is easy because it's exactly what we need, right? I mean, this part we understood it well enough, I guess. But then how do you map it? I mean, if the player wants to change a key, how do you bind to another key, right? So that's... okay, this is how to have... I don't think we need this. This is the part that we were missing, huh? Player mappable input config. Okay. Mappable. I hope they are not an alternative to the one above, because otherwise I will just shoot myself. But I hope they are in addition to the one above. I really hope. Mappable configs are a collection of input mapping contexts that represent one config or preset of mappings. For example, you can have a default and a southpaw. What is a southpaw? Mappable config that holds different input mapping contexts for aiming. You can use this config to predefine a set of contexts that are priority to... No, I mean, that's fine, but... player mappable is the keyword here. I mean, player mappable is only this small paragraph. GG. I need to understand this player mappable input, because all our keyboard, right, is remappable at the moment in game. So I mean, you can but like for French people, the A is not the A, the W, the Q, you know, all of that is all different because they have different keyboard. So is there more information on this player mappable input? Player mappable input. Player mappable input. Deprecated. GG. Easy. It's already deprecated. I mean, it's new, it's already deprecated. What the fuck? Why player mappable input is deprecated? Why? Why? Exactly. I'm really asking the same question. Why? It is for 5.1 and 5.2. If you are using 5.3, oh my god, go to this instead. I actually just found out how to do this in my own project. Documentation for player mappable anything in the system is really poor. Took me a while. Alright, I meant to update when 5.3 came out. Let's hope we don't change too quickly this time. A recent version, the process has been simplified to the point it barely ever needs a guide. But in case someone is reading the bottom of this thread, that is what you need to do to get mapped the keys. Make sure your contexts are registered. Ref player. Okay, so this is just the controller. Get enhanced input. Get enhanced input user setting. Okay. For each loop, what is this all context? What is this? For each loop, register input mapping context. Huh? Input setting object, get current key profile, player mapped keys. Input setting object, get current profile, player mapped key, track mapping key row to array. Make sure your input actions a player mappable key setting set. The name has to be something unique and valid, but display name can be anything. Player mappable key settings. Some unique name. Player mappable key settings. Experimental, no, experimental, no. No, please, no experimental, no. It is experimental. Still in 5.4 is experimental. Bro, I have to map a key. I mean, I'm not asking to render, you know, ray tracing of 4 million photons a second. I'm asking to map a freaking key. How it should be experimental. Dig through Lyra and they show you the way. Lyra is remapping. I can do that. Experiment. Okay, we don't have to do it now because I can. It's not in 5.5. Chi. What do you mean it's not in 5.5? This line is not in 5.5 or the deprecated one, the player input context mapping object, which probably has got destroyed. It got nuked. Boom. Nuked. It's no longer experimental. So they like it now. Okay. Yeah, so basically here you have to give it a name and then somehow, you know, you give it a name and then you will map that name to, right? Yeah, because we have our window where we bind all of that. But I mean, let's not try to do 10 things at a time. Okay, so this we need. But at the moment, I can force the phishing to be WASD, right? I can force it for a second, and then we will decide. Okay. But yes, I will have to do the remapping for sure. Otherwise, they will break other parts of the game. So, okay, I forgot what I was doing. Ah, yes, we were doing this, right? Yum, 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 yum. Move bobber up. Move bobber down. Move bobber left. Move bobber right. Okay, okay. Now, I'm mapping them. But I like the new system, right? I just need to adapt a bit and understand why I said L. I don't know. It should be A. Okay. Okay, now in theory here we have all the moves that you can do, and we also have an escape to exit, right? So now I need to map it to my fishing guy. So this actually does not exist anymore. If you compile, you should say error does not exist. No, we keep it. Uh-oh. I renamed this, my friend. It doesn't exist anymore. Why? That node was not existing. I tell you, it's not existing. But it was still compiling. Which is interesting, huh? Okay. So now I just need the started, because we learned that the started is basically the pressed. Okay? I can remove all of this, and I will do down. Down is here, and left is here, and right is here. Okay. We will delete this as soon as this works, okay? But I assume it does. So we have the catch. The catch. The catch. Yeah, it's the same, is here. So this is good. This is good. This is good. Okay, we substitute them all. Okay, so now we need to understand if the mini game still works after all these changes, right? If it does, I think we can call it a win. 5-5. 5-5 is out already? Or is just experiment, or is just beta? I didn't follow the 5-5 release. Is it released? November 24, yeah, probably. Yeah, it's been released. It's now available. The 12th of November. Okay, we missed that. We definitely missed this, but I mean, it already took me quite a bit to move to 5-4, so I will stay on 5-4 for quite a bit. So we will probably move to 5-6, 5-7, I don't know when, but for now it's fine. For now we can leave with 5-4. Megalights. What is megalights? Megalights. This list of a sneak peek of calling megalights. Already being dubbed for Nanite of Lights. Mega lights enable you to add hundreds of dynamic shadow casting light to your scene without constraints. Oh my god. I like the without constraints, you know, because Nanite was also without constraints, right? And then you end up with those like 1 terabyte projects. And you say, maybe I have a constraint, right? Because now I have 1 terabyte to download. Without any constraint. Okay, so now what I want to see, I want to see this. I think that is super counterintuitive for a player, by the way. That when he right clicks, you know, only if he has the fishing rod equipped, he sees that he can fish. That is super counterintuitive. But the reason we do it is because we have to do a different line trace. And so we decided to do it only when the rod is on. I think nothing worked as expected, but let's see. Yeah, it's not working. And by the way, I can move. But the fact that I can move is fine. The problem is that the C for casting is not moving. Is not working, right? So when I press C, in theory it should cast, but it's not casting. Now... Ah, stupid me. Yeah, we are not possessing anymore the actor, right? We are not possessing anymore the actor. So I cannot do it here. I have to do it on my PS character. So this, right, this cannot be on fishing actor. This has to be on... This has to be on PS character. This is why I created this fishing minigame. But then how do I do... So here I call a function or what? I call a function. Okay. So I call it cast line and I... And then I do the branch here or what? Not completely sure of this, but probably yes. So if I do this, then what I do here? But the problem is that the fishing actor, we are not aware of the fishing actor, are we? We are not. Who is aware of the fishing actor? Only player controller? Only player controller. Fine. Let's promote it to a variable. I don't know what to do, bro. Let's promote it to a variable and let's call it fishing actor. Fine. Fine. I don't like the fact that I have to do this kind of twice. But anyway. Is there a way I can do this not twice? Bah. Probably not. Okay, let me see if just the cast fish line is actually work. Because the problem now... Okay, let me think a second. So the problem now is that we have... so basically I'm polluting... what is... Yeah, because it's not recompiled, I guess. The problem is that... Unfortunately, I have to go. I mean, we made a lot of progress, right? So we really understood this new system, and we actually applied it properly to the dice mini game. Is working well in the dice mini game. I managed to have actions here, and I think now we are close to have it here. The only thing that is a bit annoying is that I need to have the actual enhanced input action still on my character, which then calls, you know, functions inside this dummy fishing actor, which is okay. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I mean, the whole idea of fishing actor was to actually free up some of the... But actually, you see here in fishing actor there is a lot of stuff, right? So we are saving all of this, right, in our main actor. So I think it's still good in terms of separation, in terms of splitting. But yes, this idea of removing certain action, adding certain action is very nice. I really like it. Yeah, but you see the C is still not working, right? The C is still not working. Why the C is not working? I think because it's overridden by something else that is already... And the escape is also not working. Because it's all... You see that it's printing something to do. Show quit game widget here. Show quit game widget here. Show quit game. So I think the escape is probably also defined. Yeah, exactly. In this context. And so... And the C is the... So if you have it mapped somewhere and is actually doing something, is actually overriding your stuff. Okay, guys, I think we made good progress, but I'm gonna go. Perhaps you can spend lighting game with too much gigabytes. I don't know. Let's see, but we will not move to 5.5. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. So thank you for watching. If you want to leave a follow, that would be appreciated, or a subscribe on YouTube. And yep, I will see you tomorrow evening at 9:30 p.m. European time. Meanwhile, if you want to download the game, remember the game is released and you can play it on Windows, Linux, and Mac. And also, here are all our socials that you can use if you want to stay in touch with us. And if you want to help us, yeah, you can also join the team and develop with us, which these days is basically with me, but because there are not many other developers, but you know, you can help me if you want. See you, boys. See you next time. Tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bling blong.